look where is, am I live? Probably am. Here I am. There you are. Hello, beautiful souls. Mwah. I hope you're all well and thriving in this amazing time. And tonight, it's just me tonight. I was going to have a guest, but it didn't quite work out with the timing. So the amazing lady that's going to be joining me will come next week instead. But tonight, my darlings, we're going to talk again about consciousness, about how we are propelling ourselves forward towards this end of this most incredible year and the energy with which we are doing so. And I feel like, you know, end well. I feel like all is well and all's going to end well. And yet there's still so much of a journey to go. But what can we do for ourselves and the collective consciousness between now and the end of 2020? And I feel like it's going to be, or is, a time of enormous expansion. And so I'm going to be sharing with you tonight the four, as I see them anyway, the 4 stages of awakening. So I'd love your feedback. I'd love to hear what you feel about that, and perhaps which stage you yourself are experiencing right now. I'm going to take a deep breath, actually, because I've just had dinner with my family and kind of just had a little rush to get everything ready. So I just want to take some time, take a breath, everyone settle in. And I want to say a huge welcome to all of you guys in the Self-Love Evolution group. Thank you so much for being in this group. I love you. And our community is beautiful and growing. So thank you for all the new people coming in. And thank you for your invitations for your friends. And I also want to say a big love and big welcome to all the people that follow me on YouTube and get the recording of this. So I love you so much. And again, thank you for subscribing. It really, really makes a difference, and it helps me reach more people, or helps us collectively reach more people, which is the whole point of it, really. So before I launch into the 4 stages of awakening and get on with what I was going to share tonight, let me just check in and see how you're all doing. Thank you for joining. Hello, beautifuls. Hello, everyone. And from what I've gathered in the group this week, a lot of you have been feeling the heaviness and the weight of the energies. And many of you are feeling actually really good, really in a clear space, really high, and really, you know, in a beautiful, grateful, blissful kind of space. And at the same time, feeling quite exhausted. So same, I'm just going to say same. I feel like everything is just sublime and smooth. I really feel like if there's a storm going on out there, I'm just not actually aware of it. I feel really calm and centered, and really in my own energy, and really grounded, where I am really connected to Mother Gaia. And for all of you that joined me on the meditation on Monday, where we connected to Gaia, that was so, so beautiful. And I'm still in that energy, and I'm really grateful that we could share that together. Let's breathe. This is the key to everything, isn't it? And I've also been feeling like, you know, I just don't have a lot of push in me or energy, where I'm kind of, there's no force, there's no push, there's no pull. And I just feel really chilled and quite relaxed. And I've been taking lots of rest. So I hope you are as well. And just using this time, because there's a lot of stillness, even though there might be a lot of things going on the world stage or in the media or whatever, even around your own personal life and your own environment, actually the energies are really beckoning us into a place of stillness. And this is what I was contemplating today when I was thinking about sharing with you all. It's like, that is such a distraction. You know, whatever's going on the political stage, whatever's going on the mainstream media stage, whatever's going on in our own minds, because let's not forget, it really doesn't matter what's going on out there. It's what we choose to feed our own minds. We can plug into it or we can unplug. So we don't have to be plugged into it. We don't have to get sucked into that vortex or that rabbit hole of drama that pulls at our attention. And our attention is a really valuable energy. And how that affects your mental clarity, how that affects your emotional stability, your emotional clarity is huge. You know, what we give our attention to massively impacts us on a personal level. So if something's happening in the collective, which is making you react and feel drama or feel tension or fear or anxiety, that's going to affect you massively. And then, of course, the ripples from how you are feeling personally are going to impact in your own private and personal field, in your arena, in your family, in your environment, in your work. So our attention is super precious. And I'm going to encourage all of you, all of us together to, we might think it's really important to give it our attention, but from my perspective and from what I keep tuning in on and what keeps coming back to me and came back really strongly today is that it is all a huge distraction. It's a mirage, something appearing real that deserves our attention when really it doesn't. It's a distraction from where our attention actually needs to be and where our attention can be focused for the most impact, the most power, the most love, the most transformation, the greatest well-being, and for the collective harmony and unity of our planet. And where our consciousness needs to be is, guess where? This way. Not out there, not lost in the shadows and lost in the drama and lost in the opinions and lost in the reactions of someone says this and then you react and then they react and then you react bigger, and it just, before you know, you've just got a storm on your hands. And if you think about the amount of energy that you're feeding into that, I think this is why a lot of people have been feeling tired, because does it really deserve your attention? Your life is precious. Your attention is treated as a commodity in this world. Everything is competing for your attention. Everything, you think about it. Everything is pulling you away from you. Just think about how many things do that. Notice how it makes you feel. And you have a choice. That's what we're going to talk about tonight, because I really feel like this is why usually I don't give my attention to what's going on politically or in the media. I haven't for a very, very long time. Like, to be honest, if ever, gave my attention to media when I was doing an A-level many years ago. But I've unplugged from news and all of that stuff for a long time until, of course, lockdown happened. And then I was like, oh, this is getting quite fun and exciting. Look what's going on. Because I'm like, yay, the collective awakening is happening. And this drama is igniting and inciting a lot of awakening for people. However, it's not supposed to bleed you dry. It's not supposed to suck your attention out. Don't allow it to. I mean, that's what it's trying to do, but you don't have to allow it. And I really encourage us, if we've learned any lessons this year, surely that lesson is that our life is precious. Our time is precious. Our resources are precious. Our relationships are precious. And where we put our attention is what will grow and what will manifest. So can we all, really welcoming, not just all you good people who are watching this, but the rest of humanity, to just allow the pause, press stop, press pause on everything else that's going on the drama stages, and just turn back this way. Because when we focus our valuable attention into what we truly all want, peace, love, unity, harmony, abundance for everybody, well-being for everybody, when we focus that attention on not out there trying to make it happen, but on yourself, and you become that which you want, you are then magnifying that vibration, that well-being, that harmony out into the world in such a powerful way. And we could argue that some people out there, the powers that be, know this. And that's why so much distraction is happening, so that another agenda can go ahead. Now, we're not going to go into that one, but if that is true, all the more reason for us all to stay in this boat of our own being, in the boat of our own soul, and to sail this ship really well into these beautiful waters ahead of us on the horizon, which to me, and I keep sharing this, are just golden with light, just absolutely beautiful. And that's where we want to go. That's where we want to steer humanity. And that's where we ourselves want to dock and make our harbor, make our home in those times of light, in that real, physical, earthly dimension of peace on earth and light on this planet. So how do we do that? I had to make some notes so I wouldn't forget to share this with you. How does that sound, by the way? Mary saying mainstream media is the work of fiction. It is indeed. It's just a bunch of stories and we all get completely sucked in. Oh, Grace, you've been in bed loads, yeah? Smudged your whole house, sat by the fire. I've been doing that too, Grace, sitting by the fire, being in nature, chilling in bed. You can do a lot of work from bed if you want, you know. I can get quite a lot of writing done when I'm in bed. It's fabulous. Hello, John. Hello, everybody that is watching. It's wonderful to have you here. So, 4 stages of awakening. And this first one is becoming aware. Now, what's happened recently really well is the game of shadows has intensified, it's magnified, and everything's becoming very polarized, whether it's your male energy or your female energy, or the light or the dark, or the left or the right, whatever it is, it's becoming extremely polarized, which is amazing because that enables us to see more clearly what we weren't able to see before. Now, from my perspective, and remember, I've had an entire lifetime, and I'm 47, nearly 48 now. I've had an entire lifetime, that's nearly 50 years, guys, of experience in these spiritual waters, let's say. And a lot of people just go for the light, go for the light, go for the light. And I used to be that way when I was younger, in my late teens, early 20s, even my early 30s. Because I didn't want to look at the shadow stuff. I didn't want to look at the darkness in the world or in other people. And so I kept myself quite naive. And then there was pitfalls to that, a lot of them. And there are other people, yeah, can you relate to that? And then there are other people who have a much bleaker, darker, more shadowy experience of life. It's all very third dimension. It's all very, you know, there's no love, there's no light, there's no magic. It's just, I don't know, whatever it is for those people. I haven't experienced that, but I know, you know, there are a lot of people like that. And they haven't experienced the light aspect. You know, maybe there was a lot of gray area in that space. And so what I'm not saying is let's all just focus on the light. What I'm saying is that first stage of awakening is whether you have the more duller, grayer, darker, bleaker version of reality, or you have the light, fluffy rainbows, everything's beautiful version of reality. It's not about choosing a side. And that's where a lot of people get lost, and you get stuck in that, and you go round and round and round the karmic cycles, either not looking at the light or not looking at the dark, and just sticking to that one-sided version of reality. Now, in this reality, in this known universe, and definitely on this planet and in this human experience, duality is a prerequisite. It's how creation exists in the first place. It's how we all exist. So instead of just saying, okay, I'm only going to see one side, we have to see all of it. You know, a huge part of my conscious awakening, even though I was born into a very spiritual, very conscious environment, it was actually becoming aware of the darker stuff, of the shadow stuff, of the terrors that go on in this world, and the deep, deep, deep suffering that people go through. And so part of that was actually being able to be with the dark night times of my soul, and there was quite a lot of them, to be honest, especially around my mid-20s and onwards from that. Some really dark times. And I think that's part of it for everybody. You either have some kind of awakening if you're in the more shadowy version of reality, a spark of magic, a spark of light, a spark of something divine or pure or, you know, magical, and then that spurs you on and it starts to become brighter. Or you're all in the light and then you get hints of the darkness, you get hints of the trauma, you get bad stuff. And it might have been that you've blanked it out for a long time and you didn't want to see it and you didn't want to believe it and you didn't want to give it your attention. And it can be that for either side. But the point is, this first stage of awakening is to be with both, is just to see it for what it is. Does that make sense? So with everything, depending on what media you've been watching, of course, there is a lot of darkness has been revealed this year, more than any other year that I can remember ever. I mean, we've had wars, we've had bad times, but we're seeing something now on a scale that we've never witnessed before as human beings, because it's global and it's on the internet and we can all see it. And for those of you that have just got a taste of that, I mean, you can really go and explore and see what's going on in the shadows. And likewise, if you've been a person that's lived most of your life in that dark place, that fear, that trauma, that tragedy, you will probably start to be noticing the more divine, the more pure, the more lighter energies, the positivity. I'm not going to say which one's a conspiracy because, you know, it depends which side you're looking at. I think everybody's calling each other a conspiracy theorist these days. But it's not really about that. It's being able to actually just see it for what it is. That can be really traumatic. Either way, you can have a spiritual awakening, which is traumatic, or you can have a shadow awakening, which is traumatic. And so that second stage of awakening is processing it. And again, this is where people get so stuck, because it's like, what's your version of processing? And maybe some of you can share, either on YouTube or on the Self-Love Evolution group here, how you process. What does processing mean for you? Because it's a word that gets thrown around a lot these days. But I wonder if people really understand, you can keep processing and processing and processing and go round and round and round and round in what feels like never-ending cycles. And I meet a lot of people like this in my work. And people try this and people try that, and they listen to this and they listen to that. And yet, and yet it's like, there's still that stuckness. There's still like, well, I don't feel like I'm getting anywhere, you know? So that processing, what I mean by that is for you to really dive into whatever it is that's being revealed to you and be present with it. That's step one. Be present with what's being revealed. The game of shadows, the game of duality of light and dark. Be present. Show up to all of it. Say hello to everything. Welcome it into your experience. Invite it, as Brandon Bayes used to say, come welcome it to sit by your campfire. And if you're familiar with the I Love You Me method, we engage in a conversation. Whether we've called it light or whether we've called it dark, we engage it in conversation. We get curious. We say hello. And we notice what comes up for us. We notice everything about it. And if it's painful and dark, we're going to notice the pain and the dark and give it full on presence and validation and acknowledgement. Because if we don't, and this is the big problem, because if we don't and we skim over it and we don't properly introduce ourselves, we don't properly validate it, and we cover it over with niceties and we cover it over with positivity, it's something is not really being seen. And when something's not being seen properly, it will keep rearing its head again and again and again until you do properly experience it, until you do see everything that it's having there, that it's kind of manifesting for you, so that you can understand it, so that you can see it. Does that make sense? So that validation, that acknowledgement is super, super powerful. And then, of course, there are other steps to that, especially if you're familiar with I Love You Me, where you then forgive, you release. And you can't do the releasing until you've done the acknowledging. You can't, again, skim over forgiveness. It takes a lot of courage, a lot of compassion and heart and empathy, and a lot of presence to then fully be able to release and forgive something which you're at odds with, which is creating a disharmony for you. And then when you've done the releasing and forgiveness, literally forgiveness transforms energy. It's not just releasing and getting rid of something that we don't like, because that's not actually possible on this planet. It's actually using forgiveness as an energy, which is a key, a major key to transformation, so that that which is in disharmony with you transforms into harmony. It's literally what it does. It's supremely powerful. And then, of course, when something comes into harmony, we're really able to embrace it and love it. And when we love something, it locks it into a vibration that is absolutely synchronous with our own energies, that is absolutely, I would say, expansive for our own energies. And love is the most powerful force, not just on this planet, but in this universe. So that's what I call processing. It's taking something that you're out of harmony with and being able to come full cycle into completion, not full cycle again and again and again, full cycle into completion, so that something is in absolute harmony with you. You are no longer at odds with it. You're no longer struggling or at war with it. And this doesn't matter what it is. It could be a belief, it could be a pain or an illness. It could be a situation that's going on in front of you, or that's, you know, in a memory somewhere from your soul. It doesn't matter what it is, but you process it so that you bring it to completion. And that processing to completion is the step 2, or stage 2 of awakening. And if we think about humanity now, I would say a lot of people are in that stage. You know, maybe you can let me know which stage you're at and how this sounds to you. Yeah, one long round of processing. You're saying, yeah. So, you know, more gets revealed, then we process. More gets revealed, then we process. But my friends, it doesn't just stop there, because there's a real enlightenment with that process. When you do the completion process properly, there's a real enlightenment that comes with that. Because what happens is you can ask yourself the question at that point, who am I in all of this? Who am I in everything that I've seen in the duality game? And now that I've processed it mentally, emotionally, spiritually, physically, what does that make me? Who am I now? And you will have had revelations that reconfigure your psyche, that reconfigure your relationship with yourself and what you've called your reality. And as we know, this question, who am I, is probably the oldest question in this world. And we won't know who we are until we see the true nature of our reality, until we embrace both aspects, because that's the ingredients we're made of. We're made of those two dualistic, seemingly opposite, yet equal forces. And they're only seeming opposite. That's only our human perspective that makes things appear like they come in pairs and like they come in opposites. They don't. But that's how it appears to us. That's the nature of duality itself. And the nature of duality are the two vital ingredients that create us as human beings and that create everything we know and relate to. Everything. So when we understand, when we get to see that bigger picture, and we have a processing of that, it informs us as to who we actually are. And that is, I think, the thing that all humans have been searching for a very long time. And now is the greatest opportunity that humanity has ever had. There's more of us than ever recorded before ever in the whole history of this human reality, in the whole history of Earth. We can't be certain, but we can make a good guess that there's never been this many people ever. And thanks to technology, we are all connected, just like you and I are connected right now. We're all connected in this net across the world, this incredible web of communication. And because of this communication and what we're using this technology for, because it's not technology, it's the problem, it's how we use it becomes the problem. And we can use this technology to help that awakening. And it really has sped up in the last year, as predicted by a lot of people over the last lot of years, that it would happen in this time. And aren't we blessed to be alive? And look at all the souls on this planet that have incarnated at this specific time to have that age-old question answered, potentially, of who am I? And a lot of us are souls that have been here again and again and again and again and again and again and again for this time, specifically for this time, because we wanted to have the full spectrum realization of who we are, not just on a spiritual dimension, a spiritual up there light dimension, but on this very grounded, dense, earthly, material dimension, to have an embodied realization that bridges, if you like, heaven and earth, that bridges the material world with the spiritual world, so that they're no longer two separate little worlds that you have to choose between. It's the unification of both. And it's only in that unification that we truly understand who we are. And that is incredible. So we have the greatest opportunity ever that's ever been on this planet, as far as I'm concerned, for human beings to self-realize who we are. And in that self-realization, that fourth step, are you with me? Yeah, in that fourth step, that fourth stage of awakening, is the actualization of who you are. It's like what you are here to do, what you are here to be, why you're here. Second biggest question in the universe: why am I here? And that answer is not a theory that would change day by day as we learn a bit more here and a bit more there. But the actual answer to that question is an actualization of self, a realized self actualizing who you are as a being, all of your gifts, all of your potential manifesting. And of course, it doesn't all happen overnight. It grows like everything in nature, grows like a tree, something like that. It grows like when you plant a seed and something grows. It's that seeding realization, who I am, that then plants that actualization journey of growth for you. And that becomes your work. That becomes your work on this planet, is self-actualization. It's like unpacking the seed of you and allowing it to take root and allowing it to flower and allowing yourself to flourish. And you will just magnify all of the gifts inside of yourself, all of the new seeds for the future generations. The seeds that your soul was here to plant. And we are all, those of us that are in this place right now, or experiencing even a little taste of this, it's the birthing, as I like to call it, of the new earth. laying the seeds for a completely new kind of human future, a new humanity, if you like. Because these bodies, these shapes that we are and have been in this density for a long time, is going through a transformation. And that's a lot of the reason why people are tired. Because there's so much going on a molecular level, on an atomic level. There is so much happening on your DNA level. And I'm going to go into this on another video in the next few weeks. So if you're feeling tired, rest. Because again, that's the processing. You're probably processing lots of things as well. But you're also in the process of actualizing who you were designed to be by your divine blueprint. Not just the conditioned blueprint that you got handed down by your ancestors and your parents and the, you know, the same old, same old. You're here to clear that human conditioning blueprint. And you're here, in fact, I'll do another talk about that another time, about the blueprints. But you're here to actualize your divine blueprint. That's yours. And it's also a vital point in the blueprint for the whole of humanity. And so, right, that gives me goose pimples when I say that. How does that sound to you? And as we do this, especially when we're in communication with one another, we're understanding what's going on, even just a little bit. And the understanding doesn't necessarily just come from the mind. The understanding happens from heart to heart in a sense of just knowing. The understanding happens in our empathy connections. Because if we could see the heart connections and we could see the empathy connections with our eyes, it would blow your mind, really. And you would see how connected we actually are. It doesn't matter if we're at the moment having, you know, everyone's spending time in their own houses and not socially interacting very much, but the empathy connection is absolutely off the charts. And when we can make that conscious and understand that we're collectively empathizing with billions of people, that we're collectively tuning into the heart matrix of billions of people. And when we start communicating about that, we amplify it. Bringing our consciousness to it only increases what's already there. And this is what is so, so powerful and so beautiful. And the reason why I do videos like this. Because it helps us communicate about it. Maybe you didn't have the words for it, but you were feeling it. And maybe now you can have conversations with others. You can share your own messages that come through for you and your own unique understanding of it, because somebody else will relate to your version of the story being told. They might not relate to how I speak. They might only relate to the way you speak. So when we start really making this consciousness, our evolutionary conscious awakening, and we make it a conversation, and we communicate about it, we are doing a huge service to our own actualization and to humanity's actualization. It's like putting water on the seeds when we talk about it, you know? I always think of, well, when I'm doing the I Love You Me method with people especially, or I'm validating somebody with a soul reading, it's like I just feel like I'm pouring water, like I'm a watering can. That's all I'm doing, is pouring water on the seeds of consciousness inside people. And then the water of the words soaks down into their soil, reaches the seeds, and starts a new growth. So by you having conversations and you communicating about your own personal stages of awakening and where you're at and what's happening for you and how you're doing with that, what's working for you, what isn't working for you, and just generally feeding it with your attention, your words, your love, you are going to be doing the biggest possible service to yourself and to all other beings. everywhere, to the whole of the earth, in fact. And that's what Gaia tells me consistently. And yeah, my conversation with her the other day, she was just like, when you, in other words, all of us, when we are anchored and rooted into her, connected to her heartbeat, feeling her love, like really enveloped in her love, and we're communicating our process with her, it's like that conversation with your mom that just, if you have a loving mom that you have conversations with, it's like having that conversation with the most wonderful, divinely loving, attentive, listening, present mother. And it's so nurturing for your own soul. And for her, it's like it makes her heart glow that her children are communicating with her, that you're sharing your experience, you're sharing your journey with her. And that makes her glow so much more. It fulfills her entire purpose, which is to be a mother, a divine mother. You know, the feedback from the children, the relationship with the children makes that mother so happy indeed, so very, very happy. And it really gives her all the power and the energy that she needs to do what she's doing, which is also undergoing a huge transformation on that physical and metaphysical level. So your communication is so crucial. And hopefully by me sharing these stages of your awakening, and that's only according to my book, but these stages of awakening, hopefully it gives you a little reference point so that you can understand a little bit more, maybe put it into context what's going on for you. And hopefully this helps give you a pointer as to actually that you're on the right track. And actually, hopefully that also gives you more encouragement to keep doing it, because that's my wish, is that you keep doing it and you spend less time focused out there, more time and energy focused in here on what's happening with you, and can really stay in connection with your mother, with Mother Earth, and keep that feedback going. Keep talking to her. And as you do, and I mean out loud too, like words are water. Remember? So have your conversations out loud. Trust me, she hears you. Words of love should always be spoken out loud, not kept in our heads with all the other junk that rattles around inside there. How does that sound? Is that helpful? Exactly. The relationship with the mother and the child is very, very important. In fact, it is really crucial to our development. And if you want to really amplify your consciousness, is to have daily connection with your mother, is to listen, learn to say how you feel and what's actually happening inside of you. And you have to obviously be plugged into you with all your senses engaged to know what's going on inside of you. And as you start to navigate that, be in communication, say it out loud, and you will really enhance your own senses, your ability to be conscious of yourself and using your consciousness tools, and you will get greater response. It's amazing how it works. You'll get a greater response from your mother. And I think what we're going to do on next Monday's meditation is, I've been getting the hints and the little tap on the head. Hey, up here. Let's have a conversation with God or with Great Spirit, whatever word you like to call that divine masculine, the Father. And let's get plugged in and connected up there too, because, we're a child of both. We're a child of that duality, the light and the dark. We're a child of the masculine and the feminine. And so these conversations and this connection that we have with our Divine Mother and our Divine Father are absolutely crucial to our growth. And it's incredibly humbling because it puts us back into that state of the divine child. which is the optimum place to be. Being the child of this universe, of this earth. And it's humbling, it's surrendering. It's like, release all the burdens and be more malleable, if you like, for the transformation. Just like a child is more malleable, supple rather, and flexible. We come back into that state of innocence and humility like a child. We are much more malleable for the divine parents to assist us, to shape us, to form us, to inform us, to help our growth into who we are becoming. So that's beautiful. I wasn't expecting to say that tonight, but that's what's been coming through. And so I feel like the meditation that we do on Monday, which will be live in the Self-Love-Evolution group, and I'm going to attempt to do it live again on YouTube. And I just want to say, YouTube viewers, I'm really sorry. When I looked back from the meditation last Monday, I had you on my phone and I had Facebook on my laptop. And basically you had really not very flattering but view from the down below underneath my chin somewhere. And it might have been a little bit strange to watch, but hopefully you did that meditation with your eyes closed and you didn't even notice what was on the screen. But I'm going to try and do a better job for you on this Monday's meditation coming up. And it's getting exciting, guys. It's getting exciting as we head towards the eclipse on the 14th in, what's that, 2 weeks, 3 weeks time. And then we have the solstice. And I love solstice, and I think this one's going to be really, really special. So I'm really looking forward to amplifying all of our energies together. Thank you for joining me. Any comments that you want to make? Selena's saying you love the round table with Magenta and Jen. They're fabulous. In fact, I'll give them both a shout out. If you haven't seen Magenta Pixie before or Jen McCarthy, go find them. They're on YouTube, they're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're everywhere. And they're both fabulous and I love them dearly. And I very much look forward to doing our next video together as well. How does that sound to all of you? How did that help? Oh yes, Helena rather, sorry. Helena, you want to know if the recordings of the meditations. I keep all of the recordings here in the Self-Love-Evolution group, and they're all also on my YouTube. So you can just go find me, Tara Love Perry, on YouTube. And by the way, I really, really feel grateful and for the subscribing. I'm not getting my words out very well, am I? I feel really grateful when you subscribe to my YouTube channel. Quite simply because if you find this helpful and you find this useful and you'll think other people will find it helpful and useful, and like I said, it's like communication that waters all our seeds and helps with this growth. And if you think that what I say is helpful, then it really helps everybody else. It helps me reach more people. And then of course our community grows, our energetic field grows, and this collective conscious awakening really gets the most energy that it can. So please like and subscribe to my videos. I really appreciate that. And of course, just, you know, gather the troops. Let's gather in this Facebook group. I used to do all of my lives just on my profile page, and I really decided I wanted to create a little container where, you know, it feels a little bit more secure for all of you in this space, so we can just go deep and share together. So thank you for that. Hey Robert, it's lovely to have you here as well. And Chris, hello darlings. And Helena, you've been loving the self-love talks. I'm really, really grateful. I really love doing it, that's the thing. And I love just knowing that a couple of times a week now, once on a meditation and once on the self-love talks, I can just dive in with all of you together, feel all of our energies together, because I really do feel you. And knowing that we're growing together, and the fact that we're doing all of this together is brilliant. I've had so many lifetimes where it just felt like a lone wolf, very lonely, dark, cold journey. And to be alive at this time, being able to feel the warmth of this family and our community. I love it so much. I can't tell you. I literally feel like this is what I was born for. And so I'm just really happy. I'm really happy that we share this. And I love the trajectory that humanity is on right now. And it might look like there's stormy weather outside, but really, when you really peek below the covers and you see what's going on, it's really, really amazing and magical and very aligned. So everybody can feel safe that things are going the right way, and kind of rest in that certainty and knowing. That's where the strength is. That's where the unity is. And that's where we get the physical outcomes that we really want, is when we really surrender to the knowing that's inside of us and not get lost in all of the crazy stories that are out there. So remember, don't get distracted. Plug into you. Your attention is valuable and precious. Don't give it away. Don't throw it away. Use it, invest it wisely in exactly where it's meant to go. So my friends, I'm going to love you and leave you until next time. Gabby, thanks for watching, my darling. Christian, that's a cool name. Thank you for watching, lovely. Mary, thank you so much. And yeah, please invite your friends into this group. Let's grow the tribe. And I'll see you on Monday. Loads of love, everybody.